Have you ever seriously pondered how your whiskered companion perceives your existence in this world? We humans tend to assume our domestic cats know without a doubt that we're a different species. But what if you were told that deep within their small but remarkably complex brains, that very concept is essentially meaningless? Yes, that's right. To them, we're something else entirely, something other than what we believe. And most surprisingly, that furry little thinker has already made a firm decision about where we fit into their meticulously constructed worldview. Today, we're embarking on a journey into the mysterious realm of feline perception to reveal the truth about what you really are in your pet's eyes. Ready for the revelation? Be warned, the answer will likely astonish you. But in order to even begin to understand how our cat views us humans, we absolutely must take a small but important step back and delve into how the feline brain works, that incredible organ which is the key to everything. So, let's begin our exploration at the very beginning, with the cat's brain. It's crucial to understand that cats don't think along the same lines as us humans. They lack that multi-layered and finely tuned system of social perception that allows humans to clearly and unerringly distinguish between species, classify them, and build hierarchies based on these differences. The feline brain, in its current form, is the product of thousands of years of evolutionary selection, shaped by powerful instincts geared towards survival and effective interaction with the environment. They perceive the world around them not so much through complex, abstract concepts or rational analysis, but through the prism of the behavior of other beings, the subtle nuances of smells, the diversity of sounds, and, of course, the visual images that surround them. All this represents a much more sensory-driven perception based on direct sensations and instinctive reactions, relying significantly less on rational thought than human perception. They are tireless observers, acutely aware and reacting in a flash. In practice, this structure of the feline mind means that your cat is absolutely unburdened by the concern or need to figure out your species affiliation. In all likelihood, it simply cannot perceive this difference between you and itself with the degree of clarity and categorization that is familiar to us. Instead of conducting species analysis, it responds to the combination of stimuli it directly sees, hears, and feels. The unique and unrepeatable scent emanating from you, the characteristic manner in which you interact with the environment and with itself, the timbre and intonations of your voice, and, of course, the particularities of your movements. This explains why many behavioral manifestations that the cat demonstrates towards us are absolutely identical to those that it would use when interacting with other members of its own species, especially with those whom it considers members of its social group or whom it has deep trust in. In its perception, you aren't some strange, incomprehensible being belonging to a completely different, alien species. No, in its head, you're part of its group, a member of its unique clan. It should also be noted that a cat's brain, although small in size compared to a human's, possesses remarkable efficiency in solving the tasks that life and instincts set before it. It has absolutely no interest in engaging in solving your biological classification. Much more important and significant for it is how you behave within its territory and in the context of its daily life. If you regularly provide it with food, give it affection and attention, and create a sense of security and stability, then you are automatically accepted by it as an integral part of its emotional and physical space. The cat's brain, in its essence, is primarily driven by instincts and a tendency to form stable, repetitive routines. Ultimately, its main goal is not to grasp the comprehensive picture of the world in its diversity and complexity, like a scientist or philosopher. Its aspirations are much more pragmatic. It wants to survive, to feel safe and secure about the future, and to maintain a predictable and stable routine. And if you, through your behavior and actions, fulfill this vital role for it, it unconditionally recognizes you as a significant element of its existence, and you become forever a part of its unique world. Now that we've at least begun to understand that our domestic cat doesn't perceive us as typical examples of the Homo sapiens species, the next, extremely interesting question inevitably arises. How exactly does it perceive us? In that case, what is our place in its feline universe? The answer to this question is not immediately obvious and requires careful observation. It lies in those subtle but significant little gestures that make up the fabric of our daily life alongside these amazing creatures. It manifests itself in those behavioral reactions that we humans are often inclined to interpret as cute or amusing cat quirks or idiosyncrasies, completely unaware that in performing these actions, they are communicating with us in the same way that they would communicate with other members of their own social group. Let's imagine a few typical and familiar scenes to every cat owner. Your cat snuggles up on your chest or curls up in a ball on your lap and begins to purr loudly and monotonously, creating the sensation that this very place on the entire globe is the safest, most reliable, and most comfortable refuge for it. Did you know that this is absolutely the same behavior that it would demonstrate towards its littermates or its mother when it was still a tiny kitten? Being in close proximity to you, feeling the warmth of your body, listening to the steady rhythm of your breathing, all of this for it is an expression and form of the deepest affection and inseparable connection. In such moments, it feels absolutely protected, feels essentially at home in the circle of its family. And when it starts licking you, sometimes it might be your hand, sometimes your forehead, and sometimes even your hair. This action may seem rather strange and unusual to us humans, but for it, in the world of feline social rituals, this is an indisputable gesture of care, attention, and tenderness. This is the identical behavior that it would demonstrate towards its brother or sister from the litter, or even to its own kitten if it were a parent. This is an integral part of the rituals of mutual hygiene and maintenance of close emotional ties within the cat group. Thus, by performing this action, it's as if it's telling you in its silent language that you are part of its community, and it sincerely cares about your well-being. Now let's move on to perhaps the most intriguing and sometimes unexpected manifestation of feline care and recognition. This is when it presents you with a gift. This gift can be anything: a light bird feather, a caught insect, some old, beloved but already battered toy of its, or, if your pet is a truly talented and successful hunter, then it may be more substantial prey, such as a mouse or even a rat. This is exactly what cats, driven by deeply ingrained instincts, do towards those whom they perceive as members of their family group, especially when they have the feeling, perhaps erroneous from our point of view, that you still need to learn the art of hunting or procuring food. It's not trying to scare you with this action, although for many of us, the sight of a dead mouse on the doorstep of the bedroom may elicit precisely that reaction. No, its true intentions are completely different. It's trying to teach you, to pass on its invaluable skills, or perhaps simply trying to feed you, sharing its prey, as a mother cat would do with her growing kittens. All these behavioral acts are not random whims or meaningless actions. They form the fundamental basis of how cats build their social relationships, how they show affection, and how they express their belonging to the group. And when they direct these actions towards us, towards humans, this happens not because they consciously adapt their way of interacting, believing that in this way, we, beings of a different species, will better understand them. It happens precisely because they, in essence, do not draw this clear species distinction. For them, we are perhaps slightly strange, not quite ordinary cats, perhaps clumsy or even slightly hopeless, but nevertheless, we are absolutely certainly part of their clan, their family, their social structure. So, the next time your furry friend gently rubs against your legs, when it snuggles up next to you on the sofa or on the bed, or when it presents you with its unexpected and sometimes slightly shocking gift, please remember this. At that moment, it is communicating with you in the most sincere, deepest, and most understandable language for it. It treats you as a full member of its world. And believe me, in the system of feline values and ideas about life, this means absolutely everything. Now that we've begun to understand that in our cat's mind, we are part of its group, its kind of pack, it's logical to assume that it, in trying to establish contact with us, uses the same language of communication, the same signals that it would use when interacting with any other member of its own species. The problem, which is also the source of numerous amusing situations, is that in the vast majority of cases, we humans are simply unable to correctly interpret what it's trying to tell us with its feline methods. And this, of course, can lead to the emergence of very curious and sometimes funny misunderstandings between us. Take, for example, that persistent, demanding meowing emanating from under the door of your bedroom at 4 o'clock in the morning, or the moment when it silently looks at you for a while, and then suddenly turns away and leaves, casting a glance over its shoulder as if completely sure that you must certainly follow it. No, all this is not a random action, but an attempt to establish contact. It is definitely trying to convey something to you, something important for it. And the most interesting thing is that meowing itself, this characteristic sound that we have come to consider the main element of cat speech, is actually almost never used by adult cats when communicating with each other. Yes, you heard right. Adult cats, when interacting with each other, rarely make this sound. This behavior, this ability to meow, was formed and developed by cats specifically for interacting with us, humans. Over time, observing us, cats have empirically found out that it is the sound of meowing that we humans are inclined to react to. They start meowing when they feel hungry and want to get food, when they need our attention, when they want us to open the door for them, or simply when they want some kind of interaction with us. It looks as if they, based on numerous trials and errors in communication with us, have developed their own unique language, intended exclusively for communicating with human beings. And what is most amazing, each individual cat, as a rule, forms its own completely individual way of meowing when addressing a particular person. It's a kind of intimate, unique language, a personal code, existing only between you two and your furry friend. In addition to vocalization, cats actively use other signals that are clear to them. For example, when your cat leads you to its food bowl, as if inviting you to see what's happening there, or when it rubs against you and then demonstratively lies down in some specific selected corner of the house, it uses gestures and actions that for it are completely clear and do not require further explanation. However, we humans very often ignore these signals, perceiving them as another cat whim or strangeness that does not require attention. From a cat's point of view, such our misunderstanding must be, at the very least, very disappointing. It tries its best, trying to teach us its language, to convey its desires and needs to us. And we, these clumsy and incomprehensible cats in our relationship with it, continue to stubbornly understand nothing. Nevertheless, despite all our mistakes and misunderstandings, it continues its attempts. And in this, perhaps, lies one of the most beautiful facets of our relationship with cats. Our cat shows amazing patience with our, from its point of view, absolute feline ignorance. It continues to carefully observe us, experiments, trying new ways to attract our attention and convey its messages, adapts its behavior in the hope that it will finally be understood. It insists on communication because, no matter how strange and incomprehensible its way of thinking and acting may be to it, It sincerely wants to be understood by us. And this desire for mutual understanding, despite the obvious barriers, demonstrates how strong and deep this connection is, established between us, and how seriously it takes our coexistence under one roof. Ultimately, the essence is quite simple. We live in a world that is perceived through the prism of the consciousness of a completely different animal. And if we stop for a moment to take a closer look and listen, we will realize that it, in fact, is talking to us all the time, every minute of our joint existence. The only question is whether we are ready to learn to listen to and understand its language. And this leads us to the most important thing. Who are you really for it? After everything said above, after immersing ourselves in the world of feline perception and trying to decipher their unique language, the most fundamental and perhaps the most intriguing question arises before us with all acuteness. If, as we have found out, our cat does not perceive us as typical representatives of the human race, it builds its communication with us, applying the same models of behavior and signals that it uses when interacting with other cats, then who are we then in its eyes? What is our true role in its tiny but so significant for it universe? The answer to this question cannot be simple or unambiguous, but it is certainly fascinating in its multifacetedness. The truth is that you can be for your cat simultaneously several completely different entities, depending on the specific situation, on its individual character, temperament, and, of course, on that unique network of relationships that you, together with it, have built during the time of your joint residence. At certain moments of your interaction, you appear before it as someone like a littermate, someone with whom you can sleep serenely, nestled comfortably next to each other, with whom you can exchange gentle caresses and expressions of affection, with whom it is comfortable to share the silence and tranquility of the common space. That's why it loves so much to curl up next to you on the soft sofa or settle on your lap, finding in this the safest, warmest, and most reliable place in the whole world. In such moments, it perceives you as equal to itself. It has to you the same deep trust and affection that it would feel towards its blood brother or sister cat. At other times, its behavioral manifestations may make you think that it sees in you a kind of cat mom. This happens when it gently rubs against you, expressing its need for contact and care. When it persistently asks for food, using all the means of communication available to it. Or when it follows in your footsteps throughout the house, monotonously and demandingly meowing, attracting your attention. In these moments, it takes on the role of a small, needing care kitten. And such behavior is the deepest sign of its vulnerability and trust. It allows itself to be so open and dependent only towards those in whose presence it feels absolutely safe, and to whom it can allow itself to lower its guard. But it also happens the other way around, which is no less interesting and touching. Sometimes it behaves as if you are its own kitten, in need of its guidance and care. This manifests itself in those very moments when it brings you its unexpected gift, which we talked about earlier, when it carefully watches you while you eat, as if making sure that you have eaten enough, or when it gently and loyally licks your hand. In these moments, it essentially takes care of you, showing patronage. It offers you affection and even a kind of guidance in its feline language, demonstrating its responsibility for you. And, of course, you are inevitably for it the official and indispensable supplier of all vital resources: food, comfort, safety, and maintenance of order in the territory. You are the one who is responsible for ensuring that everything in its world functions without glitches, who opens the doors when it wants to go out or come in, who fills its bowls with fresh food and clean water, and who, of course, makes sure that the blankets and throws are soft enough and cozy for its day or night rest. Thus, for it, you are at the same time a multitude of things. A strange but familiar cat that behaves not quite like other cats. a reliable and loyal companion in its daily adventures, an inexhaustible source of security and comfort, and, of course, a silent friend who is always there. And although it may never fully understand who you really are from a biological point of view, it knows one thing for sure: you are its, and this awareness is quite enough for it. Ultimately, trying to fit into a single word or definition what we are for our cat seems like a completely meaningless and even impossible task, because that deep, inseparable connection that it builds with us is formed not on the basis of logical definitions or rational categories. It is woven from coexistence, from day-to-day rituals of care and attention, from gentle expressions of affection and devotion that do not need verbal formulations or clear labels. It doesn't need to know that we are people. It simply needs to know and feel that we are here, next to it. Even not fully understanding who we are in the great diversity of the living world, the cat chooses us. And when it gives us its trust, this has much more meaning than the most accurate definition or the most suitable label that we could apply to it. If this video made you look at your cat from a new, deeper perspective, we will be very happy if you like this material and subscribe to our channel so as not to miss new interesting releases. And please, be sure to share in the comments below. What kind of behavior of your cat intrigues or delights you the most? We are very interested to know your stories and observations. Thank you very much for the time and attention paid to our story. See you in the next video.